The vast majority of Protestants in America believe in a doctrine which is commonly known as once saved, always saved. This belief states that once a man enters a saving relationship with God through faith in Christ, there is nothing he can do to lose that status. Justification is a one-way valve, and anyone who has it no longer need fear the possibility of damnation. In order to prove this doctrine, one would need to find an instance where the Bible describes justification as a permanent, one-time event which cannot be forfeited no matter what you do or what you choose. Are there any passages that say this? No, but there are a few which folks say are teaching this. Some of the most commonly cited examples are times in the New Testament when St. Paul gives an assurance that God will preserve us and complete the work of sanctification that he began in us. These statements tend to come at the beginning of his letters when he's giving his warm greetings, or at the end when he's giving final encouragements. For instance, in Philippians 1:6, Paul says he is confident that God will complete the work of his audience's sanctification, and in 1 Corinthians 1:8, he says God will preserve them until the end. Folks will say this supports once saved, always saved, because these sound like unconditional promises that if you start the Christian journey, our omnipotent God will unfailingly see to it that you successfully reach your heavenly reward. And the contrary position is thus accused of negating the promises of God and denying his omnipotence. It is true that Paul doesn't include any conditions in these passages when he talks about what God will do for us. However, we need to ask a question. Does that really make the statements unconditional, completely guaranteed promises? What if there are conditions, and they are just mentioned elsewhere, or they're so obvious that they go without saying? For instance, I could promise to pick you up from the airport and drive you home. So I pick you up, but on the way home you decide that you absolutely need a burrito right now. So when you see a sign for a Qdoba, you leap out of the car into traffic. Now it's true that you had a promise that I'd take you home, but even though I didn't state it outright, this promise was conditioned on you not doing something crazy like jumping out of a vehicle. That part went unsaid. Likewise, we have those statements of what God intends for us, but they are conditioned on us not forsaking faith in Jesus and returning to a life of sin. Paul just doesn't feel the need to say that every time, because he does say it elsewhere. Paul, and whoever wrote Hebrews, says these promises hold true if you continue in the faith and remain in God's kindness. Thus, since these encouraging words from Paul were never meant to be taken as absolute promises, but assume you know about the conditions that he states elsewhere, these passages cannot be used to support once saved, always saved.